Welcome everyone to our fourth annual. I can't believe we've done this for 4 years already. Our fourth annual open mic night hosted by St. Raphael School, but includes students from all of our houses of study, including the Great Hall of Scholé Academy. And so we're very excited that you are here. We have 11 presenters today, and actually more than 11, but this is our lineup for this evening. And for those of you that would like to ask questions or comment, there is a Q&A button. And so if you even just want to put a comment to tell the participants at the end of the night, I will read those comments to the participants, or you can also write it in the chat box. Now, in the chat box, it might get a bit lost, especially if there are several of you chatting. So keep that in mind. So the Q&A would be the best place. But while we're waiting for everyone to file in, please, in the chat box, tell us where you're from. All right, tell us where you are from, what city or state, and if you are an SRS parent, student, friend, relative, just write it in the chat box and I'll go ahead and call off some of the comments there as we're waiting for everybody to file in. All right, so let's see. Ooh, there we go. Hi, Rosie. Hong Kong, SRS and Scholé. Genevieve Bell, Goldendale, Washington. Virginia, family members, Annandale, Virginia, SRS, Bluffton, South Carolina, SRS Scholé, Huntington Beach, California, SRS, Denton, Texas. Shout out to True. Hey, True, I see you. Former student of mine and former SRS student who is moving on and moved on to high school. Let's see, Greenville, South Carolina, Erie, Pennsylvania. Very good. There's a couple shout outs there between classes. Excellent. Anyone else want to tell us? I see a couple of instructors as well. I see Mr. Karayanis is with us. So welcome, Mr. Karayanis. We're so glad you are here. He teaches several classes on St. Raphael School: Greek, Orthodox Eastern Saints, Orthodox Western Saints, and also liberal arts upper school. So he is with us today. So thank you for coming, Mr. Karayanis. Oh, let's see, Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see who else is here. Oh, Professora Hoffman is here. Hello, Professora. We're so glad you have joined us. It's always so nice to have our instructors join us. And Professora, I think it's Latin, correct, that you teach on the Scholé side? I think. Oh, Spanish, of course, Professora. I should have known. Sorry so much, Professora Hoffman. So she teaches Spanish on the Scholé Academy side. Oh, I love it. Elsa's like, hola. Cape Cod, Massachusetts, I see. I also saw Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Oh my goodness, we have so many people here. So welcome, welcome, one and all. We are so happy you are here. So let's start with an opening prayer, and then we'll get straight to our presentations. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And the people said, oh, you can unmute yourselves. The people said,
Amen.
oh, thank you. Amen. All right, so we're going to get straight to it. We have a wonderful lineup. We have stories, we have poems, we have drawings, we have paintings. It is a wonderful lineup of expository writing, narrative writing, persuasive writing, you name it. We have something for everyone. So for those of you that just walked in, if you have a comment for our presenters, feel free to use the Q&A. Even though it says question and answer, you can actually put a comment in there and we'll read them at the end of the night, okay? Or you can also use the chat box, but that could get a little difficult if there's so much going on, but we'll do our best. So first up is Nicholas Schendel, and each student's going to come introduce themselves and then share their work. So let me pull this up, Nicholas. Whenever you're ready.
My name is Nicholas Schendel. I live in Cape Cod, and I'm going to be sharing my biography of St. Macrina that I wrote for the book Keeper of the Light. Okay, short biography of St. Macrina the Elder. The life of St. Macrina the Elder is truly astounding. It is filled with hardship, joy, sorrow, and so much more. Her life is an example of the faith. She is a role model and an enduring person. St. Macrina the Elder was born during the reign of Diocletian, a persecutor of Christians. After her marriage, she and her husband, whose name is not known, were converted to Christianity. Then St. Macrina and her husband had two sons, Gregory and St. Basil the Elder. The lives of St. Macrina and her family changed drastically in the year 303 AD. They were kicked out of their house in Niza, Caesarea, and were driven into exile. They were in exile for 7 years before they were able to go back to their home in Niza, Caesarea. Life was not much better in Niza, Caesarea. They were stripped of their belongings and house, and they were sent out into the streets. In 313 AD, Christianity was made legal after the Edict of Milan, and St. Macrina's family got their house back. In the year 325 AD, St. Macrina's son, Basil the Elder, married St. Amelia. The joy turned to sorrow when St. Macrina's husband died. After the death of her husband, St. Macrina lived for 15 more years and got to see 6 of her 10 grandchildren. In the year 340, St. Macrina, grandmother of Saint, peacefully fell asleep in the Lord. As you can see after reading about St. Macrina's life, she is the epitome of a Christian. She shows great fortitude and follows Christ no matter what the consequence. O Holy Mother Macrina, praying to God.
Beautifully written, Nicholas. And as we do in my classes, round of applause. Well done, well done. All right, our next participant, if you can come to the mic, is Elsa Rogers.
My name is Elsa Rogers. I live in Bluffton, South Carolina, and I'm going to be presenting an assignment for the book that we read this year, The Story of King Arthur and His Knights. It's a letter from one character to another. Dear Sir Ector, I'm writing to inform thou on the prospect of my adventures in the vast world that doth surround thee and me both. Firstly, I ventured through the wood, after visiting some lovely damsels residing in that forest, to gain revenge with that sable knight. I asked aid to quarrel with him, who turned out to be King Pellinore, whom I had exiled. But in vain. I hath wondered to myself many a time how that victory's wrath came upon me. Well, anyhow, I was badly injured. I had still scars, in fact, from those numerous blows from that sable knight, and was cared for by a hermit, who too resided in the wood. After his good care, I ventured out again. My partner, Merlin, who has performed many a spell, informed me about the prospect of winning a certain sword held by a woman's arm reaching out of a lake. Of course, I hastened to that place to gain for myself that sword, Merlin by my side. Upon reaching that place, I easily gained that sword, unlike many poor souls who have died venturing to gain it. Anyhow, I, to my utter amazement, spoke to the previous bearer of the sword, who told me that their lake doth not appear as it seems. It's really a castle. After that, I decided to essay to fight that sable knight again. This time, I won the victory. I was so incredibly happy. I ventured home and sat, beaming, staring at my precious sword. Then Merlin essayed to burst my bubble. He informed me that the sheath of the sword was magical and that it won me the victory over the sable knight. This greatly disappointed me. I wanted to win the battles that I fought with that sword, fair and square. Now I could not, and so I argued for it. However, Merlin made a fantastic comeback that has stayed by my side to this very day. I need to protect my life, for my life is not mine. It has been, is, and forever shall be my people's. Yours truly, Arthur.
Well done. Round of applause. It's even better each time I hear it, Elsa. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. All right, next up is Zoya. Zoya, why don't you come to the mic, introduce yourself, and I will pull up your poem.
Hi, I'm Zoya. I'm an SOS student. I live in Virginia, and I'm going to be sharing a poem called Deep Below the Abyss. The abyss, I mean. Deep, deep, so dark and plain, so many things that have no name. Where sunshine has no touch, we do not know much. A light flares, not a sound blares. A fish is looking for food, it is not in a good mood. Everything is still, a fish is waiting to kill. There is no sound, not even sand falls from a mound. Deep, deep, so dark and plain, so many things that have no name. Where sunshine has no touch, we do not know much.
Whoa. I think my two favorite lines here is where sunshine has no touch, we do not know much. I love that. Well done. Round of applause. Round of applause. Beautifully done. And there's some comments in there. Love the repetition. I saw, of course, Mr. Kanayanis mentioned, Nicholas, that you did very well. Amazing on your St. Macrina. It was beautifully written. Elsa, someone said, I love the these and thous. She was going for Old English. So that's really cool. Lots of good job, Zoyas. Whoa. Jen, I love you. Whoa. I put the voice behind that, Jen, for you. I love that poem. Beautiful original poem. Good work. Very, very well done. All right. So next up, and I'll try to read some of the comments in the chat box, but I won't be able to get to all of them. Next up, we have Evelyn Rumler. Evelyn.
My name is Evelyn. I am 10 years old. I am in Miss Erin's class at St. Raphael, and I have a story that I was writing to read. I have been on many travels in my life, and I guess I should first introduce The Dragon and the Citadel. I have been on many travels in my life and can tell many strange tales about them. One of them is a very unusual tale indeed, for it starts at an ancient citadel located in another world and involves an evil dragon who is a very important character, as you shall see. So will you, dear reader, come with me as I unveil this world?
Yes, I will.
Once upon a time, the citadel was the lifeblood of a prosperous kingdom. As it was a seafaring kingdom, it owed much of its wealth to trading with foreigners. Near the borders of the kingdom, there was a great forest in which the dragon lived. Now this dragon I speak of was a great fire drake. As all dragons do, he loved treasure and had a grudge against anyone who might take it from him. But as there is sometimes a prophecy involved in tales like this, Pineria, the priestess of Mount Nerdain, had prophesied the following. The princess shall have a descendant who shall maim to death the serpent of the pools of Yan with the help of the seamen. As for the time of the serpent's coming, I can only tell you that it shall be the first flower of April, but the day shall come, and alas, the moon shall suddenly turn crimson at dusk, and it will be as a warning. And the seamen shall aid our people in their time of need, and the dragon's horrible reign shall come to an end. But not in our own days, I fear. That's it.
Wow. Evelyn, it's so interesting, ominous, right? It's like the dragon will not be taken over. And I love this line, but the day shall come, and alas, the moon shall suddenly turn crimson at dusk, and it will be as a warning. Whoa. Love it.
It was just sound a little bit like something somebody would say
Yes.
in old tales.
I love it. I love it. Very well done. Elias wrote, I have anticipation. So they want to know what happens later, Evelyn. You're going to have to continue writing. Zoya wrote, amazing. I want to learn more. Oh, well, see, you're going to have to finish this story, Evelyn. A lot of people writing, wow, great epic tale. Love it. Excellent work. Excellent. Round of applause. Zoya, did we give you a round of applause? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure that it'll be more like a short story based on epic tale, so it won't really be long, but still it'll be good.
Good. It'll be good. All right, Zoya, I can't remember. So round of applause for Zoya. Round of applause. You all know my memory. I can't remember, but an extra round of applause didn't hurt anybody. All right, next up, we are going to have, let me get this open, Thomas Bean. Thomas.
All right, what's up, all you people? I'm Thomas. I live in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and I've been with this loving teacher, Presbytera, for 4 years, and I just decided to write down this story. A group of restless, exhausted, and half-dead nomads continued their walk in the desert, their eyes showing signs of no rest, their skin dark and burned by the sun, and their souls fallen. The footmarks of their journey were slowly vanishing from the face of the desert sand. The sun poured down on them, scorching their skin, boiling their last amounts of water, burning their ragged clothes, and hardening their journey. They continued their march. When one stumbled and fell, he had to get up, or he'd be left to die. Survival in this environment was vital. Stopping for a rest was not possible. They knew that if they wanted to make their destination, they would need to continue. Although many had started doubting the idea and turned back, never to be seen again. Others had gone too far to turn back. Others still had some hope for the dream, and others were too old and weak to turn back. 23 years of traveling through the mountains, rivers, even an ocean, and multiple other landscapes had taken a toll on the nomads. Once a group of 500, only 18 remained. Sickness, wild monsters, weather, and age had decreased the nomads of their original number. The journey was expected to take only 5 years at maximum and should have been easier travel. The nomads had underestimated the journey and were paying for it. Suddenly, a nomad shouted to his companions in joy, I see it, the land that we have been searching for. It's there. The group of nomads looked at where their companion had pointed his finger to, and they too shouted in joy. They brought the commander of the expedition to also see, and he too, as everyone else, cried and shouted in joy. The nomads immediately increased their pace, not taking their eyes from the tall tree that stood towering over the desert in the distance. Arrival to Tairang, the first council, and the splitting of the nomads. After one day, they reached their destination. They stood on the edge of a cliff, which separated the desert from their paradise and new home. The commander called the group together and called council. A group of specific nomads gathered in a circle and started their meeting. The commander started out. May it be written and said, he looked at the scribe, that on the 23rd year of our journey, on the 20th day and on the 2nd hour, we reached our destination. The group cried out in applause and cheers. The commander waited for a little and then called for silence. We shall name this new world Tairan, which means land of glory. I ask all of you, now that we have reached our land, if you wish to continue with me, come. If you wish to leave and live with your partner, go. You are free. May you always remember, though, our universal agreement, the order of peace. May you all live long and well. Thank you, and hooray for Tairan.
Hooray.
After the council closed their meeting, the people decided to go their own paths. Of the 18 nomads, they split up into 5 groups. These 5 groups will be forever known as the first countries of Tairan. Czar, 5 people. Republic of Valeria, 4 people. Amazonia, 3 people. Spartaria, 2 people. Wolveria, 4 people. The nomads parted ways and wished luck to those of each group. Next came the claiming of territory. Czar claimed the most of the west side, mostly mountains and some lakes. The Republic of Valeria claimed the north side, mostly mountains, some desert, and close to a massive amount of water. Spartaria claimed the east side, mostly desert, some plains, and some small mountains. Amazonia claimed the far west side, which consisted mostly of jungle. And Wolveria claimed the south side, mostly forest, another body of water, and some wetlands. And so began the beginning of civilization.
Wow. So someone in text box wrote, it really draws in the listener. Another wrote, this is great writing. I want to learn more. Thomas, you have a question. What did you write this for?
What do you mean? Like, for a specific person or the...
For a purpose?
Okay. So we have this small, I guess, dirt area in our backyard, and it started 6 years ago where me and my brother were done with sandboxes. The sandboxes would always get algae in them because it's Florida. Come on, people. And we'd have to continue getting new sand and everything like that. So we decided we wanted to make our own. So we dug up some of the grass and started a world, literally. And so it grew and grew and grew. And so I decided that I'm going to take the time and write a book on all the adventures that went on.
I think my favorite, and thank you for those of you writing in. If you're writing in either on the chat box or on the Q&A, regardless if it's just a comment, I will read all of those. Just make sure you preface who it's for. My favorite, and I definitely want you to finish this story. Those of you that don't know, Thomas loves history, but my favorite is right here, right? That really strikes to the heartstrings of others had gone too far. Oops, let me move my thing here. To turn back, others still had some hope for their dream, and others were too old and weak. Whoa. So this is actually very exciting, and I can't wait till you finish it. Comments in the text box, very impressive. It is a great story of the beginning of a civilization. Jen, of course, gives you kudos for the history lessons in class. But a very good beginning to a wonderful story, which one day I hope to see published. Round of applause, round of applause. All right, so next up we have Mary Schendel.
Hello, I'm Mary Schendel, and I am taking School Light and St. Raphael School classes. And I've been taking classes with Presbyterian Maria for 4 wonderful years. And I'm very sad to be leaving her this year. But this is an original soliloquy modeled off of Shakespeare, of course, as the culminating activity for Hamlet, and it's from the perspective of Ophelia, and it's right before she meets her untimely demise, shall we say. So it's scene 6.5. A willow growing aslant a brook. Enter Ophelia. O brothers and lovers, O hated and adored, you who made my life hell and hurt, look upon me now. Look upon my wasted body, nay, look upon my wasted heart. For others I strove, to what end? My mouth is to be kept silent, my lips to be kept still. Vines threaten to strangle, sweet aromas to poison. Roses secret deadly thorns, boughs boast of baneful blows. My life is a blossom, quick to bloom, quicker to die. Left out in the cold, what chance had I? Life yearns to be ended. Can I resist? Nay, not that I've been told. To be urged is to obey, is it not? What choice had I? If I had such a choice, could I choose? But to have one more chance, one more laugh at life. To have a moment to breathe, pure and free. If I had done it differently, if I had chosen right. But to keep a firm hold on my heart was but a fantasy. My heart had a will of its own. 'Tis folly to let it beat, unchecked, straining for so long to break free. But now let it be severed, my fair dreams to be let loose, so that they may drift upon lazy rivers, float upon a summer breeze, lasting till forever. Let them be borne upon the wings of a sparrow and in the thundering of rain. May the willow whisper my wishes, may it capture my faint voice. My wretched body will drown, but spare my essence. These cold fingers wrap around me, they threaten me too soon. I shall not mourn my loss, but lift up a song, fit to mingle with the songs of nature. Farewell, pain, sorrow, and torture. Farewell, sunsets and blossoms and blush. Mourn me not, condemners of the condemned. I care not if you bury me when I lie still warm, or if you wait until my breath is frosty on my cheeks, or return me to my inception. Once I loved you, but no more. Life is through, let the water pour.
Wow. Such pathos, right? Such pathos. Of course, we know Ophelia definitely had that passion of life. And hearing her talk about it is amazing. So well done. I think one of my favorite lines here, and we have comments very nicely written. I noticed your alliteration. I love it. Team Ophelia and Hamlet. I'm with you, sister. Your reading was amazing. That was great. So powerful, so deep. Where is it? Roses, secret deadly thorns. Bows boast of baneful blows. And so everyone who knows me as an instructor knows I love my alliteration. So my students tend to make me happy by adding so much of it, but very, very nicely written. And definitely could fit into Hamlet. I think it could fit into Hamlet. Poor Ophelia, really awesome. If Shakespeare was still alive, you could have collaborated. Whoa, that's a good comment. Yeah, poor Ophelia. Very well done, Mary. Round of applause, round of applause. Very well done. Excellent. And again, all the comments that come through Q&A, I will definitely mention them once everyone has offered their presentation. All right, next up, Natasha.
So my name is Natasha Richer. I've had 4 years with SRS, 3 years with Presbytera, and I'm sorry for that to end now. And I wrote this poem as a final poetry project for my teacher, Mrs. Johnson. And since it was a continuation of the poem Envy and Avarice by Victor Hugo, and since I knew it would be kind of weird to just start with a continuation without any background, I wrote a summary of the original poem. There were once 2 sisters named Envy and Avarice. They were always fighting, and not just the ordinary sibling fighting that happens all the time. They hated each other. Then one day, as the 2 girls were walking through the woods, the god Desire appeared and told them that they could be granted one wish, except that the first one who spoke would get her wish, but the other one would get that wish redoubled. If the sisters were nice and loved each other, One could have wished for, let's say, a palace, and the other one would get two. However, Envy, as cruel as always, wished that she would be blind in one eye, so Avarice was completely blinded. And Desire granted the desire, Avarice blinded in both the eyes, Envy looking on and missed her sister's cries, and Avarice stumbled to the trees, Envy's heinous laughter following her, contaminating Avarice with the fairy disease. Avarice, running through the leaves, found a maiden, Generosity by name, who was sent by Desire, was her claim. She told Avarice of a beautiful, peaceful place, a place of reward that only the good receive, that nowhere can replace. What is the purpose of going there? Asked Avarice, for you see that I am blind, the fanciful place I could not even find. Said Generosity, ah, but this place you would see. If you bestir yourself to prayer, you will find the heavenly key. Then the maiden left, and Avarice thought of this magical place, but was it worth it in this case, to get revenge on her sister dear, something of which she was so bereft? Surely another chance to get this land would appear. Oh, how mistaken she was, for again did the god Desire appear. And Avarice wished things very severe upon her sister, and closed were heaven's doors, until repentance came, because Avarice had entered the wars of irresistible sin.
I think I just have to sit here with this. So your poem begins right here, correct?
Yes.
Ah, beautifully done. Beautifully done, Natasha. Yes, Genevieve, we are all speechless. That's what she wrote in text box. That was lovely. Natasha, good job. Something that I know Natasha has worked hard on, and I'm going to embarrass you now, Natasha, is vocabulary, right? Expanding her vocabulary. And I almost didn't recognize who wrote that, Natasha. And that is wonderful. I think my favorite line in what you wrote, I did like your summary. That summary was very good. What is the purpose of going there? Asked Avarice. For you see that I am blind. The fanciful place I could not even find. But Generosity said Generosity, ah, but this place you would see. If you bestir yourself to prayer, you will find the heavenly key. So this sense of, it's not necessarily that we see with our eyes, but we see with our hearts.
And also, I suppose, with our brains.
Round of applause, round of applause. That was great. Christina says in the chat box, it held my attention the whole way through. Nicely done. Nicely done. Let me see here. Okay, very good. All right, next up is Elias. So Elias, come to the mic as I open up your file.
So here's some backstory. We were reading the King Arthur book, and that inspired me, along with several other things, to write a medieval style story. Elsa also inspired me because she started this whole trend in the earlier part of the year involving black walnuts. So I decided to write a medieval style story. This is the beginning. I'm going to write later parts about the night of the black walnut.
So can I just pause you right there, Elias? And Elsa, why don't you come to the mic and kind of give a little bit of the backstory of how our class in level 4 children's classics got kind of stuck on this black walnut phase.
Okay, so we were doing nature studies in the earlier part of the year, and we were told to collect leaves, and one classmate collected a black walnut leaf, and I believe someone asked if they were poisonous, and then Presbyterian Maria looked it up, and apparently it was. So we all started talking. We're gonna eat a black walnut. We never actually did, but actually one kid did, but it was prepared, so it was okay.
Correct.
So, it was kind of a joke.
Yes. And then, of course, it took a life of its
It had a
own.
prominent role. So, the unusual. So here's a medieval style story about the Night of the Black. The unusual tales of the Night of the Black Walnut. At a time in the great country of Britain, there in a somewhat isolated area, a clearing near a forest, there was a kingdom. A kingdom not of great size, nor of minuscule size. The kingdom has no marked boundaries, and the houses and the rules domiciled are not prominent. This kingdom has a sacred black walnut tree, not far at all from the boundaries of the kingdom. The kingdom is known as the Kingdom of the Black Walnut. The black walnut tree is very important to the kingdom and its history. In this kingdom, there was a young girl of 8 years of age named Julie. She was the daughter of one of the king's advisors, John de Clorum, and Nuxia. Like all the children of this kingdom, she was taught about poison. The blacksmiths of this kingdom make a special armor made to look like a black walnut. The people there were content. One day it happened so that a ruthless woodcutter came to the place near the kingdom and chopped down the tree and left. The people of this kingdom were furious and devastated. The tradition said that supposing the tree were chopped down, all people in the kingdom between the ages of 8 to 18 would go near the tree and dance near the tree all the day and sleep near it all the night for 8 days. So, as it said, that is what they did. And Julie, being 8 years old at the time, did so. So during the span of those days, there came a magician. Some say it was Merlin, but it was never clear. And after seeing these antics, he went to inform himself. And once he heard of the tragedy that had happened, he decided to help. He used his enchantments to the effect of the chopped down tree, transforming it and expanding, creating walls surrounding the kingdom, finishing it, and a palace made of black walnut wood. He made it impervious to burning and rot, so it would keep, and being it helped, and everyone was glad again.
Wow. I love how you took the theme of coming of age and attached it to the black walnut tree, because the black walnut tree definitely is a hardy tree. And the sense of a rite of passage is very cool. In the chat box, we have good job. Nicely done. Let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, there's one. Great. Now we just need a story.
Actually, as for the tacos, I actually had a concept to do a drawing of the Night of the Black Walnut, and that she would have a squire, and the squire would, yeah, you can imagine. But I'm not certain if that would work in the story. But
true.
This is actually the beginning, so I'm going to add some more. And yes, Julie actually is the Night of the Black Walnut.
Love it. Love that you chose a female protagonist. Text box or chat box says it would be great if you would post all of this work as a Schoology update so we can read it. I will do my best. There'll be several files. How about I just post the video recording? How about that? All right, very good. Across the Q&A, Elias, we have, that was great. I love how detailed the descriptions were. Then the other one, wow, that was so well written. I love it. Great job. So good job. Round of applause. And I might add, Elias, I loved your actor voice. I definitely love that. It was very well recited. All right, that was awesome, Elias, in the chat box. Okay, so next up, we have a special treat. We have Isabella and Elitza. They're going to introduce themselves as I prepare their video.
Yay. So I am Isabella. I'm 14 years old, and I've been taking writing and rhetoric for 3 years through Scole, and this was my last year.
I'm Elitza. I'm 12 years old, and this was my first year of writing and rhetoric through Scole.
All right, give me a minute here because for some reason it is not cooperating. Let's see here. Open. Open, open, open. Okay, I got it. I just had to open it with a different file. Okay. Very good. And what are we going to be watching, ladies?
Yes. So last year, my sister and I, including my brother, performed a portion of Twelfth Night 7 times over the summer, and we decided to perform a portion of it for you guys today.
Thank you so much, Isabella and Elitza. We really especially appreciate it. Elias, just to let you know, we had a comment come in. I see that you're typing. I like your accent. It worked really nice with where the story is placed. All right, so let's watch. Share sound, share video. Okay, does everybody see the video? Okay, here we go.
Hello there. I am Isabella Setien.
And I'm Elitza.
I'm 14 and I'm 12. And today we will be performing for you 2 scenes from Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Now, in this first scene, Feste, Sir Toby, Sir Andrew, and Fabian have set a little trap for their steward Malvolio.
Malvolio is the head of the Countess Olivia's household. The other servants don't like him because he is constantly ordering them about and bossing them around. And Feste and Sir Toby especially don't like him because he says that they can't drink their beer,
which is very important to them. Thus, Maria, one of the servants that is in on the trick, she writes a letter in the hand of Olivia, stating certain things which Olivia dislikes, but Maria pretends that she likes Malvolio to do.
Malvolio reads the letter, while Fabian, Sir Toby, Sir Andrew, and Feste watch from behind a hedge. For a note, Fabian, Sir Toby, Sir Andrew, and Feste will be played all by me. Anyway, to continue, in the next scene, Malvolio is in a prison because he is considered a madman because he's going about raving about things that Olivia dislikes and wearing clothes that Olivia dislikes, but he thinks that she likes.
Exactly. And he also thinks that she is in love with him. So, I hope you will enjoy this suspenseful little drama. And that's it. Let's get started. Alright, for a note, the people who are watching Malvolio are behind a hedge, although we do not have a real hedge, unfortunately. Yes, and yeah, alright.
Here comes the little villain. How now, my medal of India?
Get ye all into the box tree. Malvolio's coming down this walk. He has been yonder in the sun practicing behavior to his own shadow this half hour. Observe him for the love of mockery, for I know this letter will make a contemplative idiot of him. Close in the name of jesting. Alive out there, for here comes the trout that must be caught with tickling.
"'Tis but fortune, all is fortune. Maria once told me she did affect me, and I've heard herself come thus near that, should she fancy, it should be one of my complexion. Besides, she uses me with a more exalted respect than anyone else that follows her. What should I think on it? Here's an overweening rogue."
Oh, peace. Contemplation makes a rare jets under his advanced plumes. Slight, I could so beat the rogue. Peace, I say.
To be Count Malvolio.
Ah, rogue, pistol him, pistol him. Peace, peace.
There's example for it. The lady of the Strat, she married the yeoman of the wardrobe.
Fie on him, Jezebel. Oh, peace, now he's deeply in. Look how imagination blows him.
Having been 3 months married to her, sitting in my state.
Oh, for a stone bow to hit him in the eye.
Calling my officers about me in my branched velvet gown. Having come from my daybed where I left Olivia sleeping.
Fire and brimstone. Oh, peace, peace.
And then to have the humor of state and after demure travel of regard, telling them, I know my places. I would, if they should do theirs, to ask for my kinsman Toby.
Bolts and shackles. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Now.
7 of my people, with an obedient start, make out for him. I frown the woe, and perchance wind up my watch, or play with my some rich jewel. Toby approaches, curtsies there to me.
Shall this fellow live? Though our silence be drawn from us with cars, yet peace.
I extend my hand to him thus, clenching my familiar smile with an austere regard of control.
And does not Toby take you a blow o' the lips then?
Say, cousin Toby, my fortunes having cast me on your knees, give me this prerogative of speech.
What?
You must amend your drunkenness.
Out, scab! Nay, patience, or we break the sleeves of our plot.
Oh, what employment have we here?
Now is the woodcock near the gin. Oh, peace, and the spirit of humors intimidate reading aloud to him.
By my life, this is my lady's hand. These be her very C's, her U's, and her T's, and thus makes she her very right P's. It is in contempt of question her hand.
All right. And so we will stop it there. Oh my goodness. So many comments came over the text box about your voices, about the acting. I've never been able to make something like that because it's way too awkward. Sir Toby voice is great. You can do whatever you set your mind to. I have Shakespeare timeline book. Excellent. Excellent acting. Malvolio is amazing. I have to agree, of course. What do I say about literature? Someone from my class, what do I say? What do I say?
Nothing is written in a vacuum.
Oh, thank you, Elias. Nothing's right in the vacuum. So if Malvolio seems a bit familiar to you by some sort of, I don't know, a writer named Tolkien, now you know where he also got his ideas. Go audition for a movie or play. Whoa. Great acting, voices, and costumes. Amazing job. I love that so much. You guys should act in a play or movie. I agree. Both of you did stupendous, and the comments just keep on coming. So well done, ladies. Round of applause, round of applause. Now, if we do have time at the end, we'll see how it plays. We'll finish it up. All right. Hopefully, we'll just say it's intermission. And then if we have time, we'll play it at the end. Deal? All right. Standing ovation. For those of you that are interested in drama and playwriting, St. Raphael School is offering Christian theater, acting, and playwriting next year. Year-long course, it means once a week, with an actual actor from Broadway and playwriter, screenwriter from Broadway. And they have done his work, Elias Diamond. So check that out, all right, on St. Raphael. Okay, next up is Elsa Hoffman. So let me get your file up, Elsa. Come to the mic, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Elsa Hoffman, and I've been in School A for 1 year. This is my first year. And this is my story called A Monster. Dangling under a train by the tracks by my feet while praying that I won't let go and fall into Lake Below. Most of you are going to say right now, you never dangled under a train by the tracks by your feet. Nope, I didn't, but it's a good story. So, dangling by my feet by the tracks under a train. Yeah, it's pretty painful, but way, way less painful than getting killed by a train coming at you at about, well, let's just say a lot of miles per hour.
Oh, are you there?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, how exactly did I get suspended by my feet by the train tracks? Well, let's just say it's a long story. A story that needs a lot of time to tell. Fine, I'll tell you, but first, I'd advise you to grab some tea or coffee or water or some unhealthy soda or anything to drink, really, and sit down in your most comfortable chair. It all started when I was running away from a mayo monster. Heh, long story, I was making a sandwich. There was a bunch of tuna in the cupboard, and it looked so good, so I got some mayonnaise out of the fridge and mixed it all together and then stuffed it in a hamburger bun. So, oh, right, the monster. So I was running away from a mayo monster. It was yellow and green because it had chives in it. The mayo, not the monster. The monster chased me all the way to a bridge, to a train bridge thingamajobber. Well, mayo monsters are afraid of heights, right? So all I had to do was get onto the tracks and he ran away. Well, if you're afraid of heights, which I most certainly am not, then I would advise you to never, no, not enough, never, not quite, never, nope, still not yet, never, try one this time, never, ever, okay, too much, just stay with the never, okay, much better. So never, if you're afraid of heights, then don't go on a train bridge thingamajoo. But since I am not afraid of heights, I just ran out onto the track. Well, you could say that was my life-saving mistake. The mayo monster just sighed a big, wet, slobbery sigh before slinking away into the night. And there's a footnote down at the bottom.
We'll get to it when we pass it.
So then I was stuck on that bridge. Well, not exactly stuck, but it was a long way across. I had to slowly make my way to the other side, very, very, very slowly, as slow as pizza is delivered. And, well, what happened next is probably very surprising. A train was coming hurling down the tracks. I looked behind me, and my eyes grew wide. No, not really. They were already as big as saucepans. I grabbed onto the bar thingy under me and then swung around, putting my feet on the bar. The train took a long time, as long as soda takes to be delivered, to cross over me, and my feet were very, 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 very tired. As tired as your feet will be if you've been hanging on for dear life with them. Yes, I do make sandwiches for dinner. So I wasn't able to walk home because my feet were so tired. So you died? You're going to ask. Nope, I walked on my hands. So by the time I got to the other end of the bridge, my hands were very tired and my feet were very not tired. So you walked, you say. Yes? No, I walked on my hands. Still. Why? I don't know exactly, but I did not use my feet. But if your feet weren't tired, well, sometimes people make mistakes. From now on, no more walking on my hands and no more mayonnaise with tuna. The end.
Oh my goodness, Elsa. This is, as in the chat box it says, so humorous. Love it. Wonderful intro. Hilarious. I wish I had your talent. Hilarious. So good. That is so funny. So funny. I love it. I loved it. So many comments coming through. I liked the line about the eye widening. Yes, that was very, very good imagery. As slow as it takes pizza to be delivered, extremely amusing. It was hilarious. What I really loved about this, Elsa, is the voice in here. Of course, it's written in first person perspective, and the voice that you give to your character is amazing. And the turn of events that happen to to the one running away from the male monster. Someone in the text box wrote, that was one of the funniest and non-making sense, except you can still understand it, stories I have ever read. And I think my favorite part is this part right here, where you say never, 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 no, never, yes, never. I love this part. I think this was very clever. In the text box or chat box, someone said, this inspires me to write something like this, but I probably won't succeed.
And thank you for telling us about what to do, supposing we're being pursued by a Mayo monster. It's very good to know to go to higher heights, supposing that happens.
That's right. We now know what to do. So Elsa, well done. Round of applause, round of applause. It reminds me a lot of those stories that you see in graphic novels. Those kind of stories, like I almost can see the Mayo monster, right? Like this big tsunami type of monster. That would be really cool. Really cool. Very, very well done. Did I do a round of applause? I think I did. Did I? Oh, okay, I did. All right, very nice job. Thank you, Elsa. All right, next up, we have a special treat. Saya Murray, come and introduce yourself as I pull up your beautiful offering.
My name is Saya Murray. I spent 3 years in SRS, and my first teacher was Miss Greger. Then I had a year with Miss Maria, and now I have a year with Miss Erin Moulton. This is a painting I did of the mountain that Jesus died on.
So tell us, how did you create this? Because I noticed you used different types of media. So what did you use to create this beautiful picture of Golgotha?
I actually use this app. It's called Procreate. I used two different paintbrushes. I used a big paintbrush so I could paint the sky easier. And then I used a tiny paintbrush to paint the crosses and the mountain. First I did the sky, then I did the mountain, because basically I just color over it. And then I added more scribbles on it.
Oh, it's lovely. In the chat box, wow. Someone says, it's lovely and the mountains shaped and the details. That's amazing. I love the colors of the sky. That's beautiful. The blending is amazing. Such a beautiful sky in the background of a stark mountain. I agree. The juxtaposition between the sky, that means the opposites up against each other, is really cool, because from the cross, Saya, what happened?
Jesus died.
And then?
He rose again.
Yes. So when I look at this, I think of that joyful sorrow, right? Jesus died, but he rose again. And I love those colors. I know how the stars have different brightness. So they love, because that's how really our universe is, right? The green and the blue blending is amazing. So well done, Saya. I love it. And I can't believe this was with the app, because it really does look like with paintbrushes. That's amazing. What was your inspiration to do this, Saya?
Well, first, I didn't really think of anything big, because it was like a few days ago I found out that the open mic night was on. So first, my mom thought I could draw every face of my friends in my class on there, and I thought that would be really awkward. So then I thought of something that would be orthodox and that would be pretty. And then like a week ago, I started I like to paint instead of drawing. So then I thought I could the mountain where Jesus died, and yeah.
Excellent. Well, as we know, Christ is risen from the dead, trampling down death by death, and to those in the tombs bestowing life. And I think that your painting is so beautiful, it resembles that. And one of the comments in the text box says, "You're a great artist." So well done. Round of applause, round of applause. Well done, Saya. Okay, next up, and we're ahead of schedule. So SETI and girls, I think we're gonna get to watch the rest of your presentation. So next up is Kirsten Archer with her first item, St. Macrina biography. Why don't you come to the mic and tell us, Kirsten, introduce yourself.
I'm Kirsten. This is my first year as at SRS, and I take both classes with Presbytera, but this won't be my last, so I hope that I'll have her again.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is my biography of St. Macrina.
And I just need to go back. I opened up your poem. Hold on. There it is. There. All right.
The life of St. Macrina. St. Macrina is known as the mother and grandmother of saints. She had a life full of struggle. It started when she was exiled to the wilderness. She stayed in the wilderness for 7 years with her husband and son, Mus. She had to endure all kinds of things she was not used to: bears or wolves, having to wash in rivers, killing animals for food, etc. When she lived inside the town, she had all she wanted and servants, but now she had to sleep on the ground. After 7 years, she was finally told that she could go home. When she arrived at home, she immediately went to liturgy. Then she was struck with another problem. She was thrown from her home again. She had to live on the streets. After all these hardships, she remained faithful to God. Christians were tolerated, but it was still dangerous to outwardly be Christian. Eventually, being Christian became legal, and Macrina rejoiced. Claudia, Macrina's faithful best friend, adopted her sister-in-law's daughter, Amelia. Soon after, Amelia and Mus got married. After all these years, you would think Macrina would finally have some peace, but no. Her husband died and she was overcome by grief. To lighten her grief, Amelia gave birth to 2 boys and a girl. Macrina became Nona. Then Amelia was going to have a 4th child, but little Basil was too loud and Macrina took him back to her villa. After a while, she came back for the newborn child's birth, but then proceeded to take all the children back with her. Amelia and Mus came back to fetch them when the baby died, but Basil stayed with Macrina. Years later, and with many more grandchildren, Macrina passed away.
Well done. Well done. I love how well you put the story together. Of course, this is based upon St. Macrina and, oh, I just drew a blank, and the Keeper of the Light. And so it is historical narrative, not a biography, Mr. Karayanis, an historical narrative about St. Macrina. And you did a great job putting these paragraphs together. And I love that you mentioned she's the mother and grandmother of saints. So beautifully done in the chat box, beautifully written from Mr. Karayanis, which, by the way, he's doing his doctorate in iography. So that is quite high praise. So thank you, Mr. Karayanis. It was awesome, and I now love St. Macrina. Wonderful. So well done. Round of applause, round of applause. All right, next up is Susanna. Susanna, come to the mic as I bring up your written work.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My name is Susanna. I've been with SRS for 4 years. And so this is an assignment I did for one of the books we read this year.
Which book?
Don Quixote.
Don Quixote. Very good. Mr. Karayanis wrote in the chat box. Also, if any of you are interested in learning about saints like Saint Macrina, You should enroll in my Saints courses for 2022-2023. That's right, Mr. Karagianis. He is offering semester courses in the fall and in the spring, covering Eastern Orthodox Saints and Western Orthodox Saints. So look for those as well. All right, Susanna.
How dare you insult my beautiful lady, Dulcina del Toboso? She of the fair countenance, she who holds me in her power. How dare you? Every word he said, the brave knight-errant punctuated with a sound thwack which he administered from a stout stick on the back of the poor fellow lying on the ground at his feet. Stand up and fight, you impostor and thief! Sancho sat dumbfounded on his steed, watching as his master administered punishment upon the poor fool who had asked who Dulcina del Toboso was. Even he, Sancho Panza, squire to the famous knight-errant Don Quixote of La Mancha, whose mission it was to ride around the world, righting wrongs and rescuing those in trouble, who did everything for his lady the fair Dulcina, even he, Sancho, one destined for greatness. He hadn't expected such a reaction to a question such as the one the young fellow had asked, and now he had no idea what to do in order to convince his master to stop beating the poor fool. Even I don't know who Dulcina del Toboso is, thought Sancho, as he watched the shepherd receive his just retribution for such a foolish question. After a time, the knight of the woeful countenance, growing tired, stopped beating and looked with disdain upon the half-dead figure in front of him. Now leave, and fast, before I decide to deal less sparingly with you. The young man needed no more prompting, and, getting up as best he could in the state in which he found himself, he made his way down the road at a surprisingly fast rate, and disappeared around a bend, leaving Don Quixote fuming and Sancho wondering. A coward, the knight burst out of a sudden. He gets up and runs at the first sign of danger. That, friend Sancho, is how you can tell a real knight from a fake one. A real knight will stand and fight for his lady, but an impostor will do no such thing. He runs at the first sign of danger and never once looks back. But, senor, that was no knight. That was a simple shepherd who was driving his flock out to pasture. Nonsense, friend Panza. Did you see the way he lowered his lance and came charging at us? He was preparing to run us through, and but for me, we would both be dead as we speak. Sancho was about to point out that there were sheep wandering around in the fields close by at that very moment, but before he could, Don Quixote added, "And no more of your silly talk about shepherds and the rest. That was a knight, and I know it. Obviously, you are letting your imagination confuse you again, but there is no need to be ashamed of that. It is something that happens even to the best of us at times. Now then, let us betake ourselves to our road again and follow it to whatever end the Lady Dulcina and God deem fit." And with that, the knight of the woeful countenance mounted his noble steed, which had all this time been standing quietly by the side of the road, and both squire and knight rode off at a rambling pace in the opposite direction from that which the unfortunate sheepherd had taken.
Wow. Very nicely done. Professora Hoffman, I know the last time I saw, I think, your Schoology picture, did you not have a picture of Don Quixote? I think so. So what do you think, Professora Hoffman? What do you think of our wonderful fan fiction here? Great praise from Professora Hoffman. Very, very nice job. Excellent, full of irony and humor. Amazing writing, Susanna. Impeccable humor as always. Vocabulary is great. Love the debate, right, between Sancho and Don Quixote. Of course, they're always debating back and forth. It was like a real story. I agree wholeheartedly. Wonderful job. I think what I love the most about this is the students were asked to highlight the dichotomy between sanity and insanity and what it meant and how do we know which is which. And I think that you definitely did a wonderful job here, Susanna, and I agree with everyone in the text box. Another comment, and the funny thing was Don Quixote was letting his imagination run away with him, not Sancho. And so we can debate that for a long time. Right, ladies and gentlemen of level 5 British Classics.
Wait, hold on. You mean later we actually do this?
Oh no, you have to wait till you take British Classics, or we can, do a different day to debate. But yes, we do debate things like this in British Classics. But very, very well done, Susanna. Round of applause, round of applause. All right, our next presentation is actually someone who isn't here, Sarala John, and she is going to describe a watercolor painting that she did with, there she is, with some commentary. So let's play this. There she is. Sarala, we miss you. We wish you were here, but we were glad that we have your recording.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Lejohn, and today I'm going to be sharing with all of you a picture of a watercolor painting I did recently and reading a little excerpt I wrote on the themes in the work. I painted an indigenous elder wrapping her arms around 2 young children, and I used a typical technique seen in indigenous artwork where the faces of the people in the work are not necessarily painted or drawn, but they're left blank, which I personally believe adds to the beauty of it. So I'm going to be reading what I wrote about the themes of indigenous literature and history and presence in our early American narrative. The topic I explored and am going to share about is connected to the common American views about indigenous culture and practices in some of our early American literature. In books such as The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, or stories like his Young Goodman Brown, indigenous people are referred to as savage, dangerous, wild, evil, or uncivilized. These harmful descriptions were fueled by the literature and other kinds of media of that time, and instilled in the minds of the people who blindly accepted them. In reality, the indigenous community was and still is full of ways of life that clearly contradict the common early American views. To the majority of the Western settlers who came to this land, their literature in the first several years was primarily the Bible. Unfortunately, countless disconnects can be observed in their biblical ideals, beliefs, and understanding of the indigenous peoples they encountered. For example, in Genesis, God tells Adam and Eve to subdue the earth and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock and over all of the earth. The indigenous tribes had been caring for the land and animals for thousands of years, and yet the Christian communities could not perceive this. Instead, they saw it as an unnatural, savage connection to the land and creatures that were much easier to merely hunt than to care for. Another common American assumption of that time was that the indigenous community was one without history, without literatures, and without stories, which made it much easier to erase or recreate an image of them. The assumption was that their history is not written down, so it must be unreliable or inferior in some way. Their knowledge or teachings were not valued because they did not present them in a Western fashion. For example, in the Scarlet Letter, Roger Chillingworth was introduced as a man of skill in all Christian modes of physical science, and likewise familiar with whatever the savage people could teach in respect to medicinal herbs and roots that grew in the forest. It is clear that indigenous knowledge, despite being unbelievably extensive and proven by the undeniable physical health and striking ingenuity of the peoples, was considered unreliable or somewhat unintelligent. However, indigenous knowledge, history, teachings, and literature does indeed exist and is not at all weak or inconsistent due to its oral nature. This is true because each tribe handled oral teachings very seriously. A group of elite elders were selected and designated to study for years under previous elders, working to learn and memorize every historical account of the land, times of peace or hardship, legends, medical knowledge, and many other forms of important.
Oh, did you guys lose sound?
Yes.
All right, let me close it and start at 340. Maybe it's something with the player. Okay, let me reopen it. let's see here, 340. Huh, that's very odd. All right, tell me if you're able to hear when I turn it on now.
Another
Can you
common
guys
American
hear?
assumption of that time was that the
Okay,
indigenous
so
community.
let me put it on 340, where we were.
However, indigenous knowledge and many other
There
forms
we
of
go.
important history and literature. They held each other accountable for preserving all narratives accurately, as well as passing them down to the next generations. It becomes evident that the cause for all the false depictions of indigenous culture was ignorance, rooted in alienation. European settlers had no desire to approach the indigenous peoples with understanding and openness. Because of this distance and condescending thought, there was no possibility for learning and listening to indigenous literature or history. Instead, the American literature of that time sought to fill the uncomfortable rift with ideas and assumptions that served as justifications for their discrimination. Sadly, this resulted in American settlers missing out on a multitude of opportunities to learn from such vibrant, conscious, and loving peoples. Had they come with the posture of Christ, whom they claimed to represent, the settlers would have recognized the image of God in the indigenous peoples and received so much more.
Wow.
Thank you for listening.
Sarla, that was amazing. And let me read all of the comments because there were so many. Let me read it. So if you see this recording, good job. This was so wonderful. I love the watercolor. The drawing is so detailed and beautiful. I love the background of the painting. What a compelling speaker. This is an amazing combination of painting and essay. I love the way the painting uses some elements of indigenous design in a very respectful way. And the essay is very well researched and presented. We should always consider the indigenous viewpoint when reading colonial era literature. Thank you so much. I agree, Allison, wholeheartedly. This could be a professional documentary. Thank you. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. Yes, very professional. This is inspiring. Such a speech. Beautiful. I love the picture. Has such a warm feeling and is beautiful. It really, really is. All right. So we have one more presenter, which is a poem. And it's again from Kirsten. And then if the Satian girls are still there, we can play the rest of theirs afterwards. I don't know if you're still there. All right, Kirsten.
I have no wings, but I can fly. I can fly higher than the trees, over the seas with the breeze, up into space where I land on the moon. I can go so much farther than my room. In my imagination, I am free. In my imagination, I am me.
Oh, I love this so much. Do you mind if I read it? I have no wings, but I can fly. I can fly higher than trees, over the seas, with the breeze, up into space where I land on the moon. I can go so much further than my room. In my imagination, I am free. In my imagination, I am me. I love this so much because and this is why I put this as the last, because it sums up exactly what you all are doing and what you did tonight. You brought and shared with us your art, your souls, your minds, your love. And it's so clear how well you did that. So, excellent, excellent work. Kirsten, I think it summed it up beautifully. That's why I had you last. All right, comments, beautiful. It was awesome. I'm so impressed. That was beautiful, brief, but powerful. I loved the rhyming. So, Isabella and Elitza, are you there?
Yes, we are.
Should we watch the rest of your presentation?
Yes, we'd love that.
Okay, so Kirsten, round of applause, round of applause. Of course, we have another comment, impressive. It is very impactful because I like billions of other people use their imagination on a regular basis, and it was nice poetry. It kind of reminded me of The Little Prince, right? It has a Little Prince feel to it. Those of you, The Little Prince was written by a French author that has been translated to many, many, many different languages. But that's what the feeling it gave me, which I love because The Little Prince is one of my favorite books. All right, well done, Kirsten. All right, we're going to go back to Isabella and Elitza, The Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Here we go.
Her youth and her tears? Why not? To the unknown beloved, this and my good wishes. Her very phrases, by her leave, wax soft, and hurt the impressure her Lucrece, with which she uses to seal, 'tis my lady, to whom should this be? This wins him, liver and all. Jove knows I love, but who? Lips do not move, no man must know. No man must know what follows. The numbers alter, no man must know. If this should be the Malvolio. Murray hang the brock. Let's see. I may command where I adore, but silence, like a Lucrece knife, with bluntness stroke my heart doth gore. M-O-A-I doth sway my life. A Fustian riddle. Excellent wench they are. M-O-A-I. First. Nay, but first, let me see. What dish of poison has she dressed him? And with what wing the staniel checks at it? I may command where I adore, why she may command me, I serve her, she is my lady, why this is evident to any formal capacity. There is no obstruction in this, and the end, what should that alphabetical position portend? If I could make that resemble something in me, softly, M-O-A-I. Oh, I make up that she is now what a cold scent. Souter will cry upon it for all this, though it be as rank as a thought. M! Malvolio! M! Why, that begins my name! Whoa! Did I not say he would work it out? The cure is excellent at faults. M, but then there is no consonancy in the sequel that suffers under probation. A should follow, but O does. And O shall end, I hope. I will cudgel him and make him cry, oh! And then I comes behind. I, if you had any eye behind you, you might see more detracting at your heels than fortunes before you. M-O-A-I. This simulation is not as the former, and yet, to crush this a little, it would bow to me, for every one of these letters is in my name. Soft, here follows prose.
All right. I can keep on watching, but it is time to bid adieu. It is time to bid adieu. Any last comments from our panelists? I know I did all the emceeing, so this is your chance, presenters, to say any comments, and then text chat box people. If you have further questions, comments, you can do that also. Anyone from the panel? Anyone? Just come to the mic. Mary.
I thought that everything from I know she's not here, but I love Sorella's painting and her speech that went along with it. Her words are just so moving, and I really love that. And I think everyone did a phenomenal job. And there was just, I loved everyone's humor, and I could tell that everybody put a lot of themselves into all of their work, and I just really loved that. And I loved hearing everybody present. It was so amazing. So
Good. Mr. Karayanis wrote, fantastic work, everyone. You should all be proud of what you were able to do. Wow, blown away by the creativeness. I love seeing everyone had to offer better every year. Thank you so much. Elsa.
Everybody, and this is my first mic night ever, and it's been one of the best nights of my whole entire life.
Aw, aw, and many more to come, and many more to come. Natasha?
Yeah, I loved everybody's. It was so much fun. But Elsa, I was really impressed by yours because I love adding comical excerpts into my writing, but this is far beyond whatever I've been able to do. So I was really impressed.
Good. Thomas?
I am just blown away of the amount of creativity everybody put in their work, from poetry to paintings to stories to a video. You know, everything that I saw tonight was amazing and unique, each in its own way. So great job, everybody.
Yes, great job. Kirsten?
So this is my first mic night, and I wanted to go so bad. And then I started questioning myself because we canceled Disneyland to come to this. And then I saw the wait times, and I'm like, oh man, this better be good. And this was so worth it.
Oh, we appreciate your sacrifice. Susanna?
So this was really great. I came in late, but from what I heard, everyone did amazing, and I love the creativity and originality. And it's really great to hear all the people who this is their first or second year. It's great to hear all their writing because it's just, you can see a lot of talent, and it's going to grow, and it's going to be amazing. So good job, everyone.
Yes, we are in good hands for many years to come. Zoya?
This is my first open mic night, and I had so much fun. It was very wonderful.
Very, very good. And of course, more comments in the chat box. But from me, and I think I forgot to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, from me, Presbytera Maria, principal of St. Raphael School and teacher, I will always be a teacher, probably teacher first, then principal. I cannot imagine a better night to be with you all at the end of the year, where we see the fruit of your labors and how you took such great care to share them with all of us. And of course, those of you that couldn't make it, the recording will come out to you. And of course, you panelists, when you get the recording, you can actually send it to other people who weren't able to be here as well. So I thank all of you. Let me just show again the names, and we'll do a final round of applause. So we have Nicholas Schendel, Ailsa Rogers, Zoya Richard, Evelyn Rumler, Thomas Bean, Mary Schendel, Natasha Richard, Elias Benicki, Isabella Satian, Alitza Satian, Elsa Hoffman, Saya Murray, Kirsten Archer, Susanna Dorham, and Sarala John. Round of applause. Well done, good and faithful servants. Well done. And I look forward to next year. So God bless you all. Be well until we meet again. Peace, love, God bless. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.